Wow. Detroit Lions beat the Seattle Seahawks 42-29. And Jared Goff, the Detroit Lions quarterback, he broke some NFL records, huh? He went out there. He was perfect, 18 of 18, almost 300 yards, caught a touchdown pass as well. And that's where I want to start today, because we're going to get to the game more on our show tonight, which you guys can tune into live 8 to 10 p.m. But Jared Goff's performance, Boone, he was perfect in the first half against Arizona. The second half, the offense didn't score a point. And then you're at home against Seattle. Yeah, they have some injuries, but it's still a very good secondary, and he's perfect. He's perfect. Yeah, obviously there's a lot of yards after catch with D-Mod's 40-yard reception, and guys are making plays.
Yep.
What'd you make of Jared Goff last night against the Seahawks?
Listen, there's one thing. I said it yesterday after the game. All of the haters, all of that, like, he put everything to bed. Like, he silenced everyone. And I know it was like a rough 3 weeks of football, it felt like, for Jared Goff. And there were a lot of people who were going at Jared Goff, especially after the second half last week, the Tampa Bay game. Him last week going 14 for 14 to start the game, and then this week going 18 for 18, that shows right there he is one of the best in the game. He's a top 10 quarterback, hands down, and you can win football games with him, and you can win a Super Bowl with them. And that's where, like, yesterday, Jeff, that was an elite performance. When we got done with our show and all of our stuff yesterday, I don't know if you guys could hear me, but I was in a different room, and I sat down, and I was just like, wow, like, no quarterback has ever done that in the history of the NFL. Like, he's the only, that's NFL. He made NFL history going 18 for 18. Like, no one's ever done that. So, like, for him to go out there and put that type of performance together, I don't think you can say much about anything anymore. And I said yesterday, like, it wasn't just the throws he was making. He was moving around a little bit. He had that spin move into a pass with a completion. He had the receiving touchdown when he came off, and he looked a little mobile there. A little mobile Goff. I kept tweeting it out. Then we got mobile Goff here, Jeff. So, like, he was doing things that you don't see Jared Goff typically do, which is good. That means he's getting better, and he's learning, and he's progressing, and Ben Johnson trusts him more. Like, this offense now, as this is going, this is the best offense in the NFL with Jared Goff playing. Even if he doesn't play at that level and he plays a little bit down on that, because that was perfect, obviously, but he plays a little bit down on that, that's still the best offense in the NFL with all of those weapons. The offensive line that was protecting him, is unbelievable performance. I mean, Jared Goff looked unbelievable yesterday.
I interrupted today's video to tell you about the sponsor, the official sponsor of Crunch Time Sports, and that is Lucy. And I'll tell you guys, watching these Lions games, they stress me out. And what helps me is indulging in some of these. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, if you understand that it is addictive and you have to be, of course, of age, of the legal age, which is very, very important, then you can go pick these up at most places nearby. And it's great because you can do it while you're golfing, do it while you're watching sports, watching anything on television, or just, going about your daily life. It's the best. Lucy, and compared to other companies that do this, the pouches, Lucy is the best. 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco free. It's not like every other nicotine pouch company that's owned by Big Tobacco. They're like the mom and pop shop of pouches. Set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. Now, what you can do is go to lucy.co/CTsports and use the promo code CTsports to get 20% off your first order. Lucy offers free shipping and has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That's lucy.co, and use code CTsports to get 20% off and always free shipping. Link will be in the description. Get yours now. Now let's get back to the video. I have there are a couple things he did. This is one of them. Detroit Lions PR put out Lions quarterback Jared Goff set single game NFL records for most passing yards, 292, and attempts, 18, without a completion. The previous record for most passing yards, Frank Filchak,
179.
Yeah, 179 in 1939.
That's ridiculous.
The previous record for most pass attempts is Kurt Warner, 10 in 2005. So, Jared, it's not just the 18 for 18. It's also the almost 300 yards. And he just looked, I mean, there was times where, again, like, even without Frank, you could tell, like, okay, there's plays where Jared's getting pressured, but he stood in the pocket. I think he referred to it as pocket scrambling in his post-game press conference. And he just stepped up into the pocket and just delivered. I mean, that's what he did. And he, took care of the football. He was perfect. And the confidence in which he operated the offense, that's a good sign. We were looking for this offense to have any sort of pulse. I know the first half of last week they had a pulse. Second half they didn't score a point. This was the most complete game from start to finish by the offense. The third quarter they scored 14 points. They scored another 7 in the fourth quarter. The second half and the first half they scored the same amount of points. I think 21 in each half. So the offense, this is what we are looking for. Them to bounce back, them to look more comfortable, look like a top 5 offense. And when you have the ball being spread around like it was, that's this offense. It seemed like the first couple of weeks it was like, oh, J-Mo, it's J-Mo's turn, and then it's Amon-Ra's turn. And I get that's going to happen. But yesterday, Boone, it just everyone was getting touches. I mean, J-Mo had a 70-yard reception. Laporta's making plays. Amon-Ra had the toe tap TD. Didn't have a big game, but he was still effective. Like, that's what you want to see from this offense. You had Tim Patrick making plays.
He did.
I think this was a positive sign, even though the Seahawks, and Seahawks fans were saying, well, they're out a couple of defensive linemen. Doesn't matter. I mean, the offense played extremely well. And to the whole conversation we have about them being, NFC contenders and Super Bowl contenders, that's the offense you need for the rest of the year. Right before the bye week, too. It was amazing to watch.
Dude, it's the offense that you saw for 2 years. Like the last 2 years, you have a top 5 offense, the third best last year. You've seen that from Detroit. It was like the first 3 weeks was such an anomaly. You're sitting there, you're like, what's going on? And like you said, you saw the spurts in the first half of Arizona. You saw it a little bit in the Rams game and in the Bucks here and there. But like the 1 for 7 in week 2 versus the Bucks in the red zone, like that's such an anomaly for the Detroit Lions offense with all the weapons you have. And I've always alluded to, it's like, you have these new weapons with J-Mo and Tim Patrick now. Like, you're trying to get Jahmyr Gibbs involved more. You have a new Kevin Zeiler, a new offensive lineman. Like, Graham's now officially fully on that. Like, you were trying to figure out this offense and get these things back on track. And it took a couple weeks. Like, fairly so, too. Like, you look around the NFL, so many offenses are taking so long to kind of get going. And the Lions finally clicked. When they're going like this, and there's going to be the arguments, Jeff, and like this is always happening with Jared Goff. There's those arguments where he needs people around. Most quarterbacks, I'll say this, 95% of quarterbacks in the NFL need to have the pieces around them. Like, outside of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, every single quarterback, even like Lamar needs help around him. Like Derrick Henry, for example. Like, these guys need guys around them. And Jared Goff's one of those guys. He's not a Patrick Mahomes, so he needs guys around him. And now he has like he's had it the last 2 years. You added J-Mo to it. You added Tim Patrick to it. Yeah, that's part of it. And if you give him, it showed last night. If you put a perfect game plan around him, he will produce. Like, he is good enough to go out there and produce. And like this offense, I'll just keep saying it all week. This is the best offense in the NFL when these guys are playing at this level. Mm-hmm. And even if they played a little down, I don't even care who was out for the Seahawks. If they had their defensive lineman, okay, Jared Goff goes 15 for 18 and they still win by probably 10 points. Like, the difference doesn't really, like, it might make a little bit of a difference, but it's not like, no, you're not stopping Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery running the ball like they did last night, or catching the ball out of the backfield and making the plays that David Montgomery did. Like, you're not stopping Amon-Ra or any of those guys. My phone just randomly started playing David Montgomery run. It's like they heard me say David Montgomery. Yeah. That was crazy. I thought I was like in like heaven just hearing something. I'm like, whoa, dude.
Dave Montgomery. You know what, though? You're absolutely right. I think people get obsessed with and again, like, this is what frustrates me personally, is people want the next best thing. Like, and I understand that. And if you have a realistic argument, and let's say why you believe the Lions should draft a quarterback, or, at one point, I still do. I love Hendon Hooker. I think Hendon Hooker could be very good. But the thing I will never deny is the Lions are very, very lucky to have Jared Goff. He is, if you don't have Mahomes, if you don't have Josh Allen, if you don't have these guys, the next best thing is Jared Goff. Yes. And I think and that's not again, there's a couple teams that have those quarterbacks. The rest are trying to get a quarterback like Jared Goff. I think most teams, probably 20 plus teams, would take Jared right now over their current starter. That's a great position to be in. And as long as he's not throwing the ball 50 times, which for most NFL quarterbacks is recipe for disaster anyway, you keep his pass attempts under 30. They ran the ball more times than they threw it. Great. That's what you want to see. You keep him in a situation where he can thrive, like last night. He's great. I mean, play action, boom, he's hitting guys downfield. They had so many explosive plays. Like for Jared, people always need pieces around him. It's like, yeah, dude, everyone does. I mean, that's just how that works. Now, some guys can overcome not having enough. But again, how many guys are like that in the league? I would say one, maybe two with Allen, if you want to throw Josh Allen in there. So it's two guys essentially. Like it's not realistic. So I'm glad Jared Goff quieted a lot of haters, played very well, and they got a huge win, which I think will matter more down the line in the season. A tiebreaker against the Seahawks, the Vikings undefeated. You beat an undefeated team. Like that was a huge win before the bye week. Without
Frank confidence builder too for this team.
Yeah.
Like the first 3 weeks, the way they happened, like you just built some confidence going into a bye week. Get guys healthy back, and now Jared Goff is playing at his best. I love the fact too, like Ben Johnson and Jared Goff, that relationship they have. Like Ben knows, and I think he's starting to get it now. Like you remember last week in the second half, there was times where Ben was having Jared throw it, and you're like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this play call? Like last night, there was maybe outside of that safety that happened when he had Jared Goff throwing it backed up at the 4 or 3 yard line. When all you need to do is run the ball and the game's over. Like that might have been the only mistake. But outside of that, like Ben was putting Jared in the best spots possible, and Jared was making the plays. And like when you have an offensive coordinator and quarterback, tandem like that, who's like trust each other and can make those plays together. No one will stop that. And that's like to your point, Jeff, like if you have a quarterback like Jared Goff, who's that next tier, that second tier, and you have an OC that's able to, you guys have a good relationship, you're going to have an elite offense.
Yeah, and you have the best running back duo in the NFL. I mean, for Jared, another record, I guess, or he made history.
Love these.
One of the only quarterbacks in NFL history to have a passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, and receiving touchdown in his career. Jared has all three now. So he has a rushing, a receiving, and a passing. One of 3 guys. So again, huge for Jared. And we'll break this more down tonight, which again, if you guys are new, subscribe and continue to show your support because we see it. We're live every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whenever the Lions play. We have all of our programming, which you guys can tune into. Watch Party was electric, pregame show, postgame show. But we appreciate you guys. We're trying to hit to 10,000 subs, so continue to support. Tell a friend. And get your merchandise, officialctsports.com. Until next time, Jeff Iafrate, and we got Booner. Appreciate you, Boone. We'll see you guys.